Exactly. Okay, before we jump in, let's be honest. Travis.
Way up here.
Wait, why are we You should have just taken this one. When Mom asked us to host this, I thought she meant like bring some cookies and, keep it cute.
It turns out she meant we'd be the MCs of the first annual Celebrating the Light Oscars. Sorry, was that too loud? Just without the red carpet or the paparazzi.
I mean, we'll still keep it cute, so don't worry. While we couldn't share every story of our family, we're grateful to highlight just a few powerful examples of family members who are quietly serving and reminding us that no matter what, we're all part of the same legacy. So, all right, y'all. This next story may sound like the plot of a movie. A Meemaw and Papaw.
A Meemaw and Papaw.
One titanium leg.
One titanium leg.
And a maximum security prison.
And a maximum security prison.
But nope, it's real life and it's pretty amazing.
This is about Janie and her husband Earl, fourth generation descendants of William and Joycine. Back in 2017, they got a calling, and this is how it all went down.
One of the House councilmen on the stake called and asked us, said he needed to talk to us, and we said okay. So he said the stake wants to call you and Earl to be instructors for the Huntsville second branch. I didn't know we had a Huntsville second branch.
Did you know? Did you know?
No.
You didn't know either.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
And he said, it's the prison branch. And I was shocked. I didn't know there was a prison
You want
branch.
us to go where and do what? That's what.
Because I said, this is not someplace I would regularly, want to hang out at. And he said, y'all go home and you pray about it and then let me know. So we did. We went home, we prayed about it, and we just said, if the Lord wants us to do this, we need to do it. And we did.
Okay, that's amazing. First of all,
Yeah.
the process of getting in, not easy.
Nope.
It starts with a guard tower, driver's licenses, and multiple security checks.
Multiple security checks. Shoes off, belt off, scriptures through the scanner, and Earl, his titanium leg sets off the alarm every time. And they know them all by now, but still, it's a full pat down.
And then they walk through the big iron gate slide. That thing slams behind them, and they walk a long corridor with inmates in white jumpsuits, celestial, looking at them from both sides with 0 prison guards. Earl explained how they felt the first time they were locked inside the prison walls.
Yeah. First time we went in, we was a little apprehensive. And we went into the chapel is where they had us meet. And all these about a dozen guys, wasn't it, looking at us, and said, all these guys are criminals. And they did all kinds of stuff. But I didn't feel that. I looked at them and I felt, these guys are lost sheep. We need to take care of these guys. And it's been a pleasure ever since then.
Inside the prison chapel, Janie and Earl teach the gospel of Jesus Christ every week. But it's not just them talking. They give the inmates opportunities to teach as well. I mean, these guys, they prepare full family home evenings, also known as FHE. So we've got scriptures, prayer, everything.
Earl said, "I'm proud of my guys. They're good. They actually present good material," close quote.
And Janie said when she's come to know is this: these men are God's children. He loves them just as much as he loves any of us. And the gospel, it belongs in those prison walls, end quote.
Yeah. Them's my men in latter day. They hope that one day when these men get out, missionaries knock on their doors and they let them in.
Earl and Janie expressed the bonding connection that they had with the inmates, and sometimes they even called them Meemaw and Papaw. So let's listen to what they had to say about that.
We love these guys. That's the key to the whole thing. They know We care. They know that. They feel it. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
And they know that we really do care for them.
We hug their necks.
We hug them. We praise them as much as we can. I try not to use the prison lingo. You know, they talk about their cellmates. It's their cellie. I never say that. I always say their roommate.
Those guys they would die for us.
I think that if something were to happen, if they had a breakout or something going, I think they would protect us.
Oh, I know they would.
That's awesome. When asked how long they plan to keep doing this, Earl said, "Till I die, I hope."
And Janie added, "Until we can't go anymore."
Now that's what you call a legacy.
Let's give them a round of applause. They did amazing. Oops. All right. The next story starts with a name that's been passed through generations.
A name that carries grit, grace, and a whole lot of heart. Epsy. Epsy.
It's more than just a name, it's a legacy. Renee and Michelle, commonly known as Blue's daughters, and fifth generation of William and Joycine Williamson, and Michelle's granddaughter, sat with us to explain their connection to their ancestor.
So, Michelle, could you tell us about Epsy?
Yes, Epsy is my granddaughter, and her name is Epsy Bryn. She's the namesake for Epsy Burr, which is our great-grandmother.
I bet you $1 million there isn't one more person in this family named Epsy. Is there? Another Epsy?
Come on, y'all.
I knew it.
Well, I know
Yeah.
what doll hairs is, it ain't dollars, so, and plus I don't do that in my family.
Well, I accept payment in casseroles.
Well, moving on. So what makes this name
gumbo.
even more
Nice.
special is the women that it came from. Her daughter, Beulah O'Berry, that's where the stories start to feel close, familiar, and real.
Beulah wasn't just a name we heard growing up. She was home. She could do everything, and somehow she did. She was the first woman bus driver in the state of Texas, stepped in when her husband got sick and took over from there. And the wheels on that bus went round and round.
She served lunch in the school cafeteria, stitched a nearly severed finger back on a little girl with a needle, kind of like Uncle Marshall. Thread, with needle thread, except this is the difference, poured kerosene on it like it was no big deal. And then sent her home, and she ended up feeling just fine.
So I never thought I'd hear cafeteria lady and kerosene on bleeding fingers in the same sentence.
Well, that's all you need to know. It worked, it healed. I mean, do I suggest going to your local Walmarts and getting kerosene and doing the same thing? No.
Adding it to my
Don't. Who
first.
said yeah? Well, I guess if it worked, right? Moving on, of course. So here's another cool thing about her. She also helped deliver babies in the community, and later in life, she spent her days rocking newborns in the hospital nursery, wrapping each one with love, even if it wasn't hers to keep.
She wasn't a nurse by title, but she gave those babies the thing they needed most.
She loved babies, and that's what she did. She went up there and she rocked those babies, and scientific things are coming to pass saying that is what babies thrive on, is that human touch. And she gave all of those babies in that nursery that human touch, that human love.
All right, so can we talk about, Travis, Grandma Beulah's legendary pot o' beans?
I've been waiting for this moment. We have to. If you walked into her house, morning, night, Tuesday, Christmas, it didn't matter. There was always a pot of beans and rice on the stove. Always.
It didn't matter who was coming. If it was nobody, 20 people, 20 folks, I should say, around here. If they came in without notice, that woman was being prepared.
Scout motto. And the best part, it wasn't just for family. She fed neighbors, took in strays, not just animals, but people, made room for whoever needed it, and always had a full pot and a full heart.
And y'all, this wasn't just any bean pot, okay? It was the beanpot, family relic, and guess what?
No. No! Give a round for the
This is the
beanpot.
actual beanpot. I can't believe my elbow is in it right now. Okay, this is the one, the family relic on loan. I don't get to keep it. From Michelle, who shared her story with us.
Well, that's pretty cool. But guess what I got from Renee?
Nuh-uh.
A skillet we haven't talked about yet. This is the skillet, not a replica, not a prop,
You're
not
kidding
from
me.
Buc-ee's. This is the very skillet that mysteriously showed up in Renee's trunk after she told Beulah she liked it in passing.
Okay, the skillets are nice, especially those cast iron ones. Can I have that?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
But I would just keep your trunk unlocked just in case.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hold this the whole time. Oh, I guess I'm not. That's how Beulah gave. Quiet, intentional, secretive. Not secretive. That's not in the script. And always with love.
And when she wasn't feeding people, she was stitching love in every corner of her home, which brings us to the quilts.
For this family, there were multiple childhood memories made underneath a quilt in Grandma Beulah's dining room.
So when we were kids, every Sunday or even on the weekends when we would go over and visit our grandmother, she always had a quilt in the dining room set up, and we would play under it with our cousins all the time. She was always quilting or sewing. And all these quilts that she made, she gave them away. She never kept them. She gave them away to her kids, grandkids. I think every grandkid got one for graduation
And weddings. Yeah. She always had her cousins, and one of them was Pitter. And I don't even know what her real name was. All I knew was from Pitter. And she had all these ladies, and it was like a hen party. And they would always sit around and talk, and we were underneath the quilt. We were just sitting there watching them quilt.
Yeah.
And it was fun, you know. While other kids were outside playing, I was inside sitting underneath the quilt with my grandmother. And I loved it.
Yeah.
Great memory.
Good times.
Good time.
Yeah.
Epsy, are you jealous that you didn't get to crawl under a quilt?
Well, she made sure each of them felt super special. To them, those quilts weren't just warm, they were home.
The name Epsy means more to me now. But you know what stood out to me?
What?
Pitter. Nicknames back then were wild. So far, I've heard Hood, Blue, Boog.
So here's where y'all need to come in, because I know there's more present and in the past. So please hold. I will be right back.
This is going to take some audience participation. We're going to discuss the craziest family nicknames you've heard. So if
please,
you have any.
please speak up, raise your hand, and we're just going to pick a few, and then we're going to vote with the craziest. What was that? Cooter?
Like a
Okay, I need someone to spell that.
like BYU Cougars. Cooter. Kluger.
Coot.
We're gonna spell all these. Algae. Okay. Algae.
Is that right? Chigger?
Chigger.
Oh, have y'all ever had chiggers? Okay.
Get out the nail polish. Let's see, any more? What's that?
All right. Bull.
Bull?
Stomp.
Stump?
Stomp. Like stomp? Oh, stomp. Y'all got some wild
Monk?
accents.
Okay, this is a harder activity than I thought, because a lot of these sound like they're not real words.
Right? Stomp?
Parky? Kissy?
Let me guess. Was it because he was kissed so much as a baby? I know these all have stories behind it. Right, Chubby?
Horsefly? Oh, yeah. That one bites.
We have time for maybe 3 more because we're going to be voting. What what'd you say? Boog?
Parky?
Parky?
Okay, I thought that was the real name. Timer?
Timer. I've heard that one too. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know if I feel comfortable putting that on the board. Cooter. Okay. Scooter. Chubbs.
Chubbs. How about Travadopolis?
What are you trying to say? Sneeze?
Oh yeah, that's mine. Because my name sounds like a sneeze. People are like, Ashna. Okay.
Let's see. I keep putting the microphone closer to me like it's going to make me hear better.
Okay, I'm about to write with my nails. So I think this is a good, unless y'all have one more. Moon. Okay, moon.
I want to hear this one. I'm invested in this. Everyone, shh.
My son's name is Jolly, and it says our surname is Rancher.
Ah, the Joller. One more. Okay.
I don't remember who it was that talked to me, but he came up to me one day and said, how's Snooky? And I looked at her,
Stucky?
Snooky?
Snooky.
I just happened to know my grandma's name was Bernice, so I figured it out. But her name was Snooky growing up.
Snooky before it was cool. That is amazing.
All right. Now, here's the tricky part. We have not practiced this, okay? We got to vote. Which one out of this list is the wildest?
Okay.
All right, okay, here's what I'm going to do, okay? I'm going to move my hand to each one, and when I hear applause, you're going to put a check mark or something. Okay?
This is...
Coon. Algae.
That's a good one.
Chigger.
That's in the running for sure.
Bull. Yeah. Stomp.
Yeah, I'll give you a half a check.
Kissy.
Woo!
Horsefly.
Yeah! That's it.
Parky. Jolly Rancher. Snooky.
Yeah!
Timer. Cooter. Chubbs. Sneeze.
Was that one real? Is that...
All right.
Okay, I think Chigger.
Or stomp. Ready, Chigger?
Chigger. Stump. Chigger is the winner. The year's supply of nail polish coming your way.
All right. All right, so this next part of the program may feel a little less like a Hallmark movie and a little more like an episode of Little House on the Prairie meets Duck Dynasty.
Okay. There we are.
Yep.
We're talking goats, chickens, and all the animals.
Well, but here's the thing. These stories may sound simple, even funny at times, but they're soaked in legacy. They're about service, the quiet kind, the kind where no one's looking for credit. They're just looking around for someone who needs something.
And in this case, what people needed was eggs. Lots of eggs.
Several years ago, Sherry and Dale Portie, fourth generation of William and Joy Seen, set out to give away as many eggs as they could in 1 year's time. They gave them to widows, neighbors, even my grandma and grandpa, Wade and Vivian Hayes. They were excited to find that they were able to give away over 500 dozen eggs.
That's a lot of chickens doing their part for the Lord.
So at one point, Sherry was in California visiting her sisters, and Dale caught her up with a little challenge. So let's take a look at this clip where she talks us through this memory.
One year I was in California with my sisters visiting, and Dale called me and he said, "Guess how many eggs? I'll give you $50 if you can guess how many eggs." And the number just came to me. I said 43. "How did you know that?" it just came to me. I guess I was prompted. Yes. And so I got $50 more to spend on my trip.
Oh, yes.
That was fun. It was a fun memory. Dale won't remember it, but I do.
Now, I know, isn't that awesome? Now, let's talk about Dale's upbringing. While Dale's mother was working hard as a school teacher, Calvin and Sadie helped raise him, and he had the best memories. So let's roll a clip where we hear all about Dale's raccoon hunting experience.
One of the things I enjoyed doing was they raised corn, and at night we'd get a light and go out. She had a couple of dogs that would chase coons and run them up the tree. And when they ran them up the tree, they would set it on the tree and bark. And we'd know where to go and shine the light up in the tree and take the gun and shoot the coon to try to save the corn.
Okay, so was Sadie, did she go coon hunting?
Sadie was a coon hunter.
Oh, and she was a good shot?
Yes, she was a good shot. That's why I behaved.
Did you ever make a raccoon hat?
I skinned a few, but I never made a raccoon hat.
Oh, no.
I didn't want to be Davy Crockett Jr.
There's still time, Davy. Okay, now if you thought raccoon hunting was wild, buckle up. Because at one point, this family member also kept snakes. I hear you. And he kept them on the property to teach his students.
Yeah, we're not talking about cute little garter snakes either.
Can you imagine being a student and being like, okay, everyone pay attention and please don't disturb the rattler?
It's kind of genius. I mean, if you act up and just, a snake bite in the back, I would behave. Let's roll a clip where they talk about all the types of snakes he took care of.
When I taught school, I kept different animals in the room. And I had some little rat snakes, maybe this tall. Humphrey was 7 feet tall. He was that big around.
What kind of snake?
He was a python. I had to keep him in this cage here. I heard someone told me a lady around Winnie had this large snake she wanted to get rid of. So I called her, I went out and got him. He was huge, big. At one time I had water moccasin, copperhead, coral snake, and a rattlesnake. They were all alive, and I kept them here to show and demonstrate.
Okay, did you feed them?
Yes, little rats. If I found a little dead bird or something, they would eat that.
You never pass up a dead bird if you can.
And if he starts calling your kid a little rat, be scared. All right, so he didn't just catch those snakes. I'm saying your line, but I'm just going to go with it. He actually took care of them. They cared, loved, and served their animals like members of their family. By keeping snakes, hand-feeding their goat, Chubby, rescuing dogs, caring for the cows, sheep, and chickens. Not only that, they passed their heart of service to their posterity.
Today, their granddaughter Emma is learning how to love and care for animals just like they do and has big dreams of becoming a vegetarian.
No. Veterinarian. I looked it up on dictionary.
That's what I said.
Sure, okay. Anyway, what we love about these stories is that, y'all, they aren't flashy. They're about faith, family, and just doing the next right thing, day after day. This is the William legacy in action. So let's give them a round of applause. Some people make the world brighter with their words or eggs. Some do it with a smile. And others do it with yarn.
This next story is about Dolores, a fifth-generation descendant of William and Joycine, who's been crocheting hope one stitch at a time. And she does it all completely blind.
Every October, she donates over 100 hand-crocheted caps to the American Cancer Society. She also gives to Christian Care, and anyone that's out there in the cold, if you're on a bike, you're walking, doesn't matter, they get one.
She's been doing this for about 7 years. So here's an interview with Shirley, her caregiver, explaining the details about how her yarn is supplied.
So very little of the yarn was purchased. It's all donations. And of course, I can't stay out of formally theirs, so every time they have yarn, I grab it.
I figured if I make what it costs me to make a cap, if I go buy the yarn, it's about $2 a cap.
But
So
you don't have to pay
saves me
for
a
it.
lot
because
of money.
people- Yeah, you are an angel, Dolores,
Well,
doing good deeds.
this is something I can do. So I'm
And
trying
you
to
know
make
what's
use of it.
amazing? Very seldom does she have to correct and go back and take some out and then start over. Very
Would you know if you make a mistake, Dolores?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, when you make a round, you usually find it on the next round if you make a mistake. If you skip a stitch or something, miss a loop or something, you know, it'll show up on the next round. So you don't have to rip out a whole lot. And I don't like to leave it if it's not right.
She's a perfectionist like many of us in this room. Yes, well-deserved applause. The yarn is donated, the work is free, but the care, priceless. This year, already, she's made 33 caps, and it's not even fall.
Yeah, no capping, or however you say that.
What does that even mean?
Dolores is a giver in every way. And one of the most beautiful parts of her story is her son, Richard, who was born with Down syndrome. Here's a clip of her talking about her sweet boy.
He just was such an outgoing child, and he had a smile for everybody. He did not meet a stranger anywhere. No matter who they were. Richard was just, he just made friends with everybody. Nelma says he was always there opening the door for you. He was the little doorman at
the church.
Yeah.
Richard brought light wherever he went. He was joyful, and his light is still shining through Dolores, crocheting caps and sharing smiles.
She may not be able to see with her eyes, but she definitely sees a need with her heart. She is a quiet hero, and we are better for knowing her story.
Let's give her a round of applause. Okay, so this next story is not just about family history, it's about grit, determination, and doing hard things.
That's right. Some people inherit land, some pass down quilts. Aunt Sina passed down a legacy of rolling up your sleeves and getting the job done, no matter how tough. Aunt Sina Cole Thompson, third-generation descendant of William and Joycine, was born in 1884 after marrying the love of her life, Hansford Thompson, or Handsome Thompson, as she called him. They built a family of 8 children together, but one day he left across the Neches River on horseback and never returned. He was murdered, leaving Sina a widow with their children to raise on her own. Most people would have folded, but not Sina.
Her brother, who lived with her, said, "We're all going to die." And she looked at him square in the eye and said, "We are not going to die." I've read this so many times and I haven't cried. She got to work quilting for the rich ladies in Beaumont. selling vegetables from her garden, and just doing whatever it took to feed her children. But more than food, she wanted them to have faith, education, and friends. So she made a very important decision, a very hard decision. She would move her house 10 miles to the Williamson settlement.
And by that, we don't mean that she rented a U-Haul, but she actually moved her whole house. With the help of her 12-year-old son and brother Uncle Doc, they dismantled the house board by board. Sina numbered every plank, straightened and saved every nail, hauled 65 wagon loads, 25,000 shingles, 35,000 feet of lumber, and 5,000 bricks, and then rebuilt it, I guess, like a Lego booklet.
Probably a little harder.
One brick at a time, one board at a time.
She would people later walked through that house and still saw the pencil marks that she made during her reconstruction.
But Sina's legacy doesn't stop there. The very ground beneath our collective feet, this sacred space where we now gather, was a gift from her hands given in faith, so her family and community could worship for generations to come. She gave land to a needy family, to her widowed daughter, and even granted the right-of-way for Aunt Sadie Drive.
And then there was Mary, Aunt Sina's youngest. She moved through life with that same steady rhythm as her mother, never idle, always in motion. Sounds like someone I know that's related to me. Can't put away those cinder blocks, Mama. She never watched TV except for the 15-minute news, and even then, her hands were always crocheting or just sorting something. Rest to Mary wasn't a pause, it was an opportunity. And if she saw her children saw that they were sitting too still or for too long, she gently nudged them and remind them, well, while you're resting, shell the peas. Like mother, like daughter.
Sina's life was guided by a simple, powerful motto: keep your word, be honest, be on time, stay busy, pay an honest tithing, and enjoy hard work. Because Sina knew that no matter what life throws at you, you can always move forward, one board at a time.
Let's give her a round of applause. It's a beautiful story. The last one we're honoring today. I do have a question for you, Travis. Do you know how some people retire and they pick up golf, right?
Well, Charlie B., fifth generation descendant of William and Joy Sina, retired, and he picked up a weed whacker. He got to work serving, oh gosh, I can't talk anymore, serving quietly and faithfully in the Williamson Cemetery, no matter the season, winter, spring, summer, or fall. All you have to do is call, and he'll be there. He's been consistently caring for the resting place of our beloved ancestors.
Now, I'm not going to lie, it's a job that most of us would not want to do, especially in the South Texas heat, which we've all experienced this morning. But Charlie does it, okay? He not only does it, he does it with a smile and a Kubota.
Yes.
And here's a video of his interview, which is just so special.
So, Charlie B., what inspired you to take care of the cemetery?
Well, I was on the committee first. You know, the worker we had wasn't doing the job. I decided to go ahead and take the job over because I had a loved one buried here, and I was retired. And it keeps me active, so I decided to go ahead and do the job. Been doing it 17 years. 17
years?
17 years.
Okay, and you used to come down here with Musette?
Me and Musette worked on it till she got to where she couldn't hardly get around. I'm done myself now.
Okay. Charlie B., what are some responsibilities you have to do here?
Weed eat, mow, pick up limbs, rake leaves, meet people, pick out sites for the burial, collect money, deposit, over and over, same stuff. I mow the grass once a month on each side. Takes about 3 hours on each side to mow. But through the weeks and months, I pick up limbs every day.
You got limbs everywhere.
I mean, these trees, they just fall constantly in the wind.
That's a lot of mowing.
A lot of mowing and weeding.
Weed eating.
Around the cemetery, weed whacking they call it. I call it weeding. Down each tombstone. There's over 1,500 buried here. It takes way more time on weeding.
What else do you do?
Pick up trash. People come in the cemetery and eat sandwiches and stuff. Just throw the trash on the ground. And I pick it up. Used to have a barrel there, but they got to bring in their own garbage here, so I done away with that. That's a big magnolia right there. Drops leaves all year.
It drops leaves, and somebody has to rake them up.
Exactly. They make a pretty flower, but they sure make a mess when the leaves hit the ground. My wife does all the paperwork. She's been doing that for years. She got to look at all the barrels. You'd be surprised what all it's involved in that.
Okay, she keeps the records.
All the records. Got volumes of them.
So,
Met a person here to bury their loved one. They were complaining about how the cemetery looked. And he told them, why don't you just get in your car and drive on down to the restaurant and get one of them high-dollar ones. They shut up.
I wanted to ask you, why do you keep coming here?
Just enjoy it. And it's good exercise, keeps me active. And I'll do it as long as my health holds up. I don't know how long it'll be. But I'm 86 right now, I'm soon be 87.
Gonna endure to the end. Huh?
Endure to the end.
As you can see, Charlie B does it all. He cuts grass, he picks up trash, even the sandwich eaters. You know who you are. He helps collect burial fees and it's not y'all, we know that. Okay, and he deals with these leaf-dropping, Liam-fowling magnolias that just won't quit.
Charlie B just keeps showing up.
Charlie B, thank you for showing us what enduring to the end really looks like, and for making sure that every corner of the cemetery is loved, even when no one is looking. Well, y'all, I think it's safe to say that we met some absolute legends tonight.
No red carpets. I
Nope.
would say no trophies, but there are. I did see some of them.
But that's not for this, though.
They
It's
don't
something else.
post it. They don't hashtag it. They just do it. And that's what makes their service so powerful.
We've seen everything from hats crocheted in the dark,
got
to
it.
beans on the stove, to 3-hour mowing sessions and sneaky cast iron giveaways. And through every story, one thing stood out. This family, doesn't just talk about love, they live it.
So you may not be a quilter or a chicken raiser or mowing your way into heaven. That's okay. Service doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be given. A smile, a ride, a meal, a hug, a cap.
I thought you said a cat. I'm like, no, don't give me a cat.
That is not a service.
The real award for service isn't gold or glitter. It's a life well lived, a legacy well planted. And if you're sitting here tonight, you're a part of that.
So let's all go out and serve like the legends we've seen today. Thank you for celebrating these stories with us. Now go make your own.
And don't forget to raise a hat, a hand, or a weed whacker in honor of the ones who did it first. Let's celebrate the light.